All right, so this weekend, American officials are heading to Rome to hold negotiations with their Iranian counterparts to try to work out a deal that would curb or possibly eliminate, depending on who you ask, Iran's nuclear program. Why now? Well, there's a couple reasons. If you remember, the US and the UK and France and several other countries actually had a deal with Iran on this very issue. It was called the JCPOA, if you're a diplomatic nerd, and it was negotiated under the Obama administration. The aim was, in fact, to keep Iran's nuclear program in check and extend what's called the breakout time. That's the time it would take Iran to go from what they have now to build a fully functioning nuclear weapon. But when Trump took office the first time, he pulled out of that deal, calling it, quote, fatally flawed. He also later in his administration ordered the assassination of the leader of the IRGC, Qasem Soleimani, which caused kind of a global kerfuffle and really obviously angered the Iranian regime. Then a series of other things happened. First of all, Trump left office. US sanctions continued to eat away at Iran's economy, and the war between Israel and Gaza broke out. And within that, Israel really blamed Tehran funded proxies for the October 7th attacks and launched several targeted and pretty successful strikes on Iran. Now, Iran, at the moment, by most accounts, is militarily weaker than it has been in decades. So the Trump administration thinks now is the time to force Tehran back to the table. Some Trump officials want Iran to agree to dismantle the entire nuclear program. And if they don't agree, they think the US should strike those facilities or let Israel go after them. But there's pushback on this from, among others, apparently JD Vance, who thinks a diplomatic solution is possible and the US should be willing to make some compromises. There's also fear, even within the administration, that a strike from the US or Israel could spike oil prices and, more importantly, put US troops in the region at risk. Now, the thing about these negotiations is they're probably not what you're picturing. This isn't Camp David where everyone's going to get locked in a room and they can't go home until they hash something out. In this case, for most of this meeting, there might be a few face to face moments, but most of this, the teams are going to be set up in separate areas or sometimes even separate hotels. And there's an intermediary that's going to go back and forth with messages and proposals, kind of like kids passing notes in the back of homeroom. So maybe your teacher was wrong to scold you for passing messages in class because it's literally how global treaties are done, if they get done. And in this case, we'll still have to see.